Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine has advanced into the outskirts of Kyiv, but the Russian army is said to have suffered heavy losses of life along the way. These are live pictures from the capital as the mayor declares it has entered a defensive phase and has encouraged civilians to fight for their city. Here's the latest on the situation. Russian troops are progressing towards the outskirts of the Ukraine capital, where armoured vehicles can be seen driving through streets and airstrikes are being heard and felt on a regular basis. Russia's defence ministry claims forces had cut Kyiv off from the west and says it's killed 200 Ukrainian troops. Meanwhile, Ukraine's defence ministry claims it's killed more than 2,000 Russian servicemen. A key battle is taking place on an airfield northwest of Kyiv, which is seen as a vital staging post for a planned assault on the capital. The Kremlin overnight has responded to Ukraine's pleas for talks, saying they would be willing to meet, but it would have to be in Belarus, a key ally of Moscow. Russia has restricted access to Facebook in Ukraine in response to restrictions the social media platform has imposed on its media. It claims Facebook is involved in the violation of human rights and freedoms. Putin has pleaded with the Ukrainian army to stage a coup and overthrow the government.
I would like once again to address the Ukrainian army men. Do not let these nationalists use you, use your women, your children, your elderly, use them as human shields. It will be so much easier to talk to you and to negotiate with you than with this gang of Nazis that has captured Kyiv.
As Putin's propaganda continues, more than 50,000 Ukrainians have now fled in less than 48 hours, according to the United Nations Refugee Agency. NATO countries will deploy more troops to Eastern Europe to bolster efforts there. In a joint statement, the 30 NATO leaders said no one should be fooled by the Russian government's barrage of lies. The response from the world has been ramped up in the last few hours. Most recently, sporting and major events have cancelled Russian participation, including the Eurovision Song Contest, the Champions League final and the Formula One Russian Grand Prix. The Council of Europe has launched a process to suspend Russia's membership for the second time in its 25-year history. The sanctions also continue. The European Union's Foreign Ministry have announced they will seek to freeze the foreign-held assets of Vladimir Putin and his Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov under a new sanctions package which is currently being finalised. All this as Russia's Foreign Ministry spokesperson warns Finland and Sweden they will face detrimental military and political consequences if they attempt to join NATO. NATO General Secretary Jens Stoltenberg addressed the media a short time ago after world leaders held a meeting to discuss the ongoing crisis.
Russia has shattered peace in Europe. The people of Ukraine are fighting for their freedom in the face of Russia's unprovoked invasion. We deplore the tragic loss of life, enormous human suffering and destruction. Our thoughts are with those killed, injured and displaced. We call on Russia to stop this senseless war. Immediately cease its assaults, withdraw all its forces from Ukraine, and turn back to the path of dialogue and turn away from aggression. The Kremlin's objectives are not limited to Ukraine. Russia has demanded legally binding agreements to announce further NATO enlargement and to remove troops and infrastructure from allies that joined after 1997. We are facing a new normal in European security, where Russia openly contests the European security order and uses force to pursue its objectives. The world will hold Russia and Belarus accountable for their actions. Russia as the aggressor, Belarus as the enabler. President Putin's decision to pursue his aggression against Ukraine is a terrible strategic mistake, for which Russia will pay a severe price for years to come. NATO allies and the European Union have already introduced significant sanctions, and many of our partners around the globe have joined us. We must stand ready to do more, even if it means we have to pay a price, because we are in this for the long haul. At the same time, the Russian people must know that Kremlin's war on Ukraine will not make Russia more secure. It will not make Russia more respected in the world. It will not lead to a better future for your children. In response to Russia's massive military build-up over the past months, we have already strengthened our deterrence and defense. Yesterday, NATO allies activated our defense plans. And as a result, we are deploying elements of the NATO response force on land, at sea, and in the air, to further strengthen our posture and to respond quickly to any contingency. The United States, Canada, and European allies have deployed thousands of more troops to the eastern part of the alliance. We have over 100 jets at high alert, operating in over 30 different locations, and over 120 ships from the high north to the Mediterranean, including 3 strike carrier groups. There must be no space for miscalculation or misunderstanding. We will do what it takes to protect and defend every ally and every inch of NATO territory.